Once in a small, picturesque town nestled between rolling hills and a winding river, there lived an elderly man named William. He had a humble cottage on the outskirts, and for as long as anyone could remember, he had been known for one thing, his secret family recipe. People spoke of it in hushed tones, saying that this recipe had been passed down for generations, and its taste was nothing short of magical. It was said that no one who tasted the dish ever forgot it. The flavors were so perfectly balanced, so rich in depth, that it seemed as though each bite told a story of the land, the seasons, and the generations of hands that had crafted it. One day, a young and ambitious chef named Emily moved to the town. She had recently opened a small restaurant, and though her dishes were good, they lacked the soul that would make them unforgettable. The locals were kind and supportive, but Emily could sense something was missing. One evening, after hearing yet another tale about William's legendary recipe, she decided to pay him a visit. She found him tending to his small garden, his hands weathered but steady as he carefully pulled weeds from around his vegetable patch. "Excuse me, sir," Emily said, a bit nervously. "I've heard many stories about your family recipe, and I was wondering if you might share it with me. It could really help my restaurant." William smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "Ah, the recipe. Everyone wants to know the ingredients. But it's not just a list of things you can write down and follow. It's something much more." Emily, undeterred, pressed on. "Please, I'm willing to pay for it. I just want to learn how to make it." William shook his head gently. "It's not about the money, my dear. The recipe is not something you can simply copy. But if you're truly willing to learn, come to my home tomorrow morning, and I'll teach you." The next day, Emily arrived bright and early, ready to take notes. She expected to be handed a list of ingredients and a set of instructions. Instead, William led her into his kitchen and began to show her the steps, one by one. First, he took her into his garden. "The vegetables for the dish are grown here," he said, carefully plucking tomatoes, peppers, and herbs. "They're tended with love. You see, the soil remembers how it was cared for. That's the first part of the recipe, patience. You must nurture the ingredients from the very beginning." Emily nodded, intrigued but still waiting for the real secret. Back in the kitchen, William moved slowly, washing the vegetables with care, chopping them with precision. He did everything deliberately, never rushing, and all the while, he spoke to Emily about his life, about the times he had spent with his family preparing this dish. He told her stories of his ancestors, of how each generation had added something of themselves to the recipe. As the day wore on, Emily began to realize that this was no ordinary cooking lesson. William wasn't just teaching her how to make a dish, he was teaching her about the essence of cooking itself. "You see," William said as he stirred the pot slowly, "the recipe isn't just about what goes into it. It's about how you do each step. You can have all the right ingredients, but if you're not patient, if you don't give the dish time to develop its flavors, it won't be the same. It's not just the ingredients, it's the love, the care, and the time you invest." Over the next few weeks, Emily returned every morning. She learned how to choose the right ingredients, how to balance flavors, and most importantly, how to slow down and let the process unfold naturally. William's lesson went beyond the kitchen. He was teaching her that life, like cooking, was about nurturing passions and letting them grow in their own time. One evening, after weeks of learning, Emily finally made the dish on her own. As she served it to William, she felt a sense of accomplishment not because she had mastered the recipe, but because she had come to understand its true meaning. William tasted the dish and smiled warmly. "You've done it," he said softly. Emily, though proud, shook her head. "I still don't feel like I know the recipe exactly." "You do," William assured her. "The recipe was never just about the ingredients. It was about learning to care for each step, to be present in the process, and to pour love into what you create. That's the real secret. And now, it's yours." Emily left William's home that night with a heart full of wisdom. She realized that cooking, like life, wasn't about rushing to the end result. It was about being patient, loving the journey, and understanding that the process was just as important as the final dish. And from that day on, her restaurant thrived, not because she had William's secret recipe, but because she had learned to put her heart and soul into every dish she made. The flavors reflected the love and care she had learned, and the townspeople could taste the difference. The moral of this story is true mastery, whether in cooking or in life, comes not from simply following instructions or rushing to achieve results, but from investing time, love, and care into the process. Success is not just about the end result but about nurturing your passion, being patient, and embracing the journey. The value of any creation lies as much in the effort and heart put into it as in the final outcome.